We're about to dive into one of the biggest yet quietest shifts in the human diet over the last century and what it means for your health right now. Do you ever just feel like you're in a constant low grade battle with your own body? Aches, fatigue, that general feeling that something is just a little bit off? Well, the truth is, you're not wrong. You are in a battle. And it's a fight that really kicked off about 150 years ago, completely changing our internal environment. It all comes down to a tale of two fats. So, to really get this, we've got to meet the main characters in our story, the two families of essential fatty acids. Now, that word essential, it's not just a suggestion. It means your body literally cannot make these fats on its own. We have to, absolutely have to, get them from our food. They form the very structure of our cells, and they act as these incredibly powerful signaling molecules. All right, let's meet the families. On one side, you've got the omega-6s. These come mainly from industrial seed oils. Think corn, soybean oil, and grain-fed animals. Basically, the stuff of modern processed foods. On the other side, you have the omega-3s. You'll find these in things like fatty fish, walnuts, and leafy greens. Kind of sounds like older, more ancestral foods, right? Keep these two sources in mind. They are the key to this entire story. And this is where we get to the heart of the conflict, a radical and really recent change in what we all eat. So for millions of years during the Paleolithic era, our ancestors ate omega-6 and omega-3 fats in a ratio of about 1:1, a perfect, beautiful balance. Then came the agricultural revolution, which caused a little shift but nothing major. But then, the Industrial Revolution. And in the grand scheme of things, just 150 years ago, everything got thrown completely out of whack. I mean, just look at the scale of that change. Our ancestors' diet had that clean 1:1 ratio. But today, the average Western diet is sitting at around 15:1, and some people are even hitting 25:1. We're basically drowning our system in one type of fat while starving it of the other. Okay, so here's the kicker. Our diet went through this massive transformation, but our genes, they haven't caught up. Our bodies are still running on Paleolithic-era software, but we're feeding them a diet from a completely different planet. This genetic mismatch is the real source of the problem. So what's the big deal? What actually happens when you have this kind of mismatch? Well, the evidence points to one major culprit that seems to be hiding behind so many of our modern health issues. This wildly high ratio, it's like a modern recipe for trouble. It actually fuels the development of many of the chronic diseases that we see everywhere today. And the list of conditions linked to this imbalance is, well, it's basically a who's who of modern illness. Heart disease, certain cancers, obesity, autoimmune disorders, even neurodegenerative diseases. Research is connecting the dots between all of them and this skewed dietary ratio. But, and this is a huge but, here's the good news. Fixing the ratio has a profound, almost unbelievable impact. Just look at this statistic. In one study, simply getting the ratio down to 4:1 was linked to a staggering 70% decrease in total mortality for people who'd already had a heart attack. That just shows you how powerful this balance really is. So why? Why does this ratio matter so much? What is actually going on inside our cells? Let's zoom in and get a little nerdy for a second. The best way to picture this is like a constant tug of war happening inside your body right at the cellular level. These two fat families are always competing for the same resources to get their jobs done. Okay, hang with me here. Let's walk through this. First, the fats you eat become part of your cell membranes. Then, when there's an injury or an infection, they get released. Now here's the crucial part. Both omega-6s and omega-3s need the exact same enzymes to be turned into signaling molecules. When omega-6s win that competition, they become the body's alarm system, screaming, "Inflammation, sound the alarms." But when omega-3s get a turn, they're the peacemakers. They send out signals that say, okay, calm down, crisis averted, time to heal. So you can see what happens, right? When you've got 15 omega-6 guys screaming for inflammation, for every one omega-3 trying to calm things down, who do you think wins? The pro-inflammatory signals just completely overwhelm everything else. And this creates a state of chronic low-grade inflammation, like a constant simmering fire that slowly damages tissues over time and drives all those diseases we just talked about. All right, I know this sounds a little grim, but the amazing part is that the power to fix this is literally on your plate. So let's talk strategy. Now, it's really important to get this straight. Omega-6s are not the bad guys here. They're essential fats, and we need that inflammatory response when we get hurt. The goal isn't to get rid of them, it's all about bringing back the balance. Research suggests we should be aiming for a ratio of 4-to-1 or even better. So, how do we actually do that? It's a classic two-pronged attack. Dial down the refined omega-6s and seriously ramp up the omega-3s. That means swapping out those industrial seed oils for things like olive oil or avocado oil. It means choosing grass-fed meat and pasture-raised eggs because they have a much healthier fat profile. And it means reaching for whole foods like walnuts and fatty fish instead of all those processed snacks. Okay, for those of you who like a concrete goal, let's get specific. There's a number that research points to that can have some real measurable benefits. And that number is about 3 grams a day. The American Heart Association suggests that getting about 3 grams of the really important omega-3s, that's EPA and DHA, might be the sweet spot for helping to lower blood pressure. Now, what does 3 grams even look like? Well, you'd get that in a pretty standard 4 or 5 ounce piece of Atlantic salmon. Totally doable. So it really all comes down to this, doesn't it? Our genes are basically the same as they were 40,000 years ago, but our food environment is from another planet. This huge gap was created by the modern world, but the power to fix it, that's in our hands. The only question left is, isn't it time we close that gap?